Okay, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. So, what I want to share today is the significance of mentoring in a state that is standardized. So, you know how a community continues to want to inspire their initiates to become educated in the field of whatever they're studying. So in my case, I'm an educational leadership doctorate professional. And so by being that, I had to go get the criteria and the certification in order to be able to lead in an area where it is standard. Okay. But when it comes down to leadership in and of itself, no educational source could have taught me that. No educational leadership source can teach you how to be moral. That has to already come with you, right? So it amazed me when I was at a conference and I was told that there's a new program that you can receive certification from in order to become a mentor peer. Well, see, I'm not a mentor peer. I am a doctorate professional. So in being that, there's a significant difference. You cannot mentorize a lived experience. You can't train someone how to be a successful mentor based on a standardized examination. Yeah, you may be able to say, well, is this person qualified? Is this person mentally stable enough to help another individual? But at that point, it would have to be based upon the stability of the people who are actually standardizing. So, I did let me see here. When I looked at the assessment, okay, what I noticed is that people love to inspire people to do programming, to make them robotic. The only thing to me that a mentoring program could actually do is to teach people a standard that they should already know before becoming a mentor. They shouldn't have to have an examination for that in order to prove that they're capable and qualified enough to be moral, to have ethics and principles, to have morality and integrity within themselves. And if a person is at that point where they need to be trained to be that, then they're not going to be a good mentor at all. I was actually doing a peer recovery support certification and I quit. I quit because my lived experience, and I've had many lived experiences. My lived experience did not equate to what this certification was saying I needed to project among other people. So I went to the higher ups and I asked the question. For those who created the criteria for the certification, my main question was, what are your statistical data breakdown? How many people have successfully succeeded in your program with their lived experience and stayed in recovery for longer than a 10-year period? If everyone wants to empower and inspire someone to be better when they meet them, then there should be something that is being a part of the project that's going to create, idealize a form for the person to even consider. But the only thing that strategy, implementation, and examination can do is put one in a box and say, this is what a mentor looks like. This is the professionalism that a mentor is supposed to be responsive to. Yes, now if you are part of a program that is funded by something that says that you need to have this criteria, then you go right ahead, then that's what you do. But when there is a place and a time where an individual can do this thing on their own for themselves, that's a different strategy. That's an entirely different strategy. And you yourself, you have to become inspired and empowered to be creative enough to be able to make that niche happen for you. An assessment is not going to create a good mentor. It's only going to provide a job for someone else. Okay. So in Universal Leadership, in the course in which I use here, it is a 4-week course. It is a basic, fundamental, this is what you need in order to prepare yourself for the journey in which you're about to embark upon. And not one individual will have the same lived experience, not one. And with that being said, how can you strategize an exam? How can you assess an examination and standardize it? And that's what the problem is in America that is about to change. People are going to have to be more coherent, cohesive when it comes down to the processing and how they expect a society to function on a creative basis. Think about it. Listen. Creativity has been stifled in America since slavery. Creativity has been stifled in America since slavery. So that means that even during the concepts and times and experiences of things that we've endured over the course of time, even in our pain, even through our struggles of, someone higher up in a title mentality who felt that they had all the answers and knew everything, even then we were outshining those who were capable of the most capable things, right? So when I speak on Universal Leadership, I talk about taking all of your lived experiences and teaching me how you maintained to get to where you are today. A lot of people have the scenario in their mind that they've been abused in many different ways, traumatized in many different ways, but they don't even understand how they're surviving through a struggle. But yet they're surviving, yet they're making it through. And that's what we do over here. I have no idea of all the new, funding portals that are trying to just go along to get along. So they're going to change their titles of their programs. They're going to link it and label it to something that is now creative because they got to always hold on to the top notch in order for them to survive. And that's the thing. I'm not a survivor in the mode of leadership. It's not about survival for me because I've already survived the worst case that could ever be. And that's what I teach. I want you to know that the inspiration within you comes through and for every experience that you have lived on purpose. Things that has been done to you intentionally. So when you look at that, then you're able to say that you have some stamina. You have, like we talked about yesterday, when the 450-pound track runners was running and winning. They really made it number one, right? It may be AI, but it's still in a mentality. It's a mindset. So that's what I wanted to get on and share with you today. This is a beautiful day. This is a wonderful, magnificent day for you to get up and do a little bit more than what you've done to get to know you. There have been a lot of downloads for me last night that I know that there's going to be some strategies that are going to be implemented in my life that is just going to be phenomenal. So I thank you all for being here, liking, comments, and sharing. I won't be long on these podcasts. I just wanted to get on, let you know that if you want to be a mentor and you know you've experienced some harsh realities that you can help someone else, and you do not need to be credentialized by someone who can't even show you their statistics on how their program is functioning within the community. Show us that. Since you want to be the top leader in everything, show us the statistic, break it down. How many successful people has succeeded in your program? So what, you have 1 million people or 100,000 people that like what you're doing in your program? It sounds good. But what are you doing behind the scenes? Are you answering those phone calls? Are you morally pushing out the agenda, not because you can make a couple dollars, but because you genuinely want to use that as a passionate platform to help someone who may be seriously in need? And if you do that, then you need to get with me, because we need to make this thing connect, because I want to be able to be a resource to others, to let them know that real individuals are here to help you, and this is the phone number that you call. We do not need to be playing around with people who are not even answering the phone calls of the titled individual. And if you can't help the professional in what it is you do, then I don't think you have the qualifications to be able to help the client, because you're not helping. You're not helping. Never turn anyone away. And if you can't provide them the service that's needed, at least in the social field that you're in, be moral enough to say that I'm going to turn you over to someone who may be able to support you. You're not going to be responsible for anything that takes place from that point. Resource exchanges happen every day. I'm Dr. Darina Shine, and I thank you so much for being here. I'm an educational leadership in the field of morality and integrity, and I walk the path as a lived, experienced individual who has dealt with substance issues as well as mental health barriers, but I am not that label. I do not buy into the label of I have to be there forevermore. I am not an addict. I am a recovering survivor, and I teach that in my programs, because when you have nothing but yourself to depend on, you get up and you show up and you act in a different format. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And if you need me, my information is in the description box. And we'll see you next time.